Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to cover how to submit your encryption key, your public key, that's very important, submit a public key to a key server, and also how to import somebody else's public key into GPG tools so that you can send them encrypted emails. So when you need to send someone an encrypted email, you need their public key. In order for them to send you an encrypted email, they need your public key. So the common way of doing this is to use what are called key servers. This is the MIT key server, which has, I think, been around for quite some time. And it's very nice. It's open. Anybody can submit a key. We'll go over, I'll sort of touch on the issues about like how you go about making sure that the key belongs to somebody. So as I think as will become clear through this process, anybody can upload a key. I mean, you saw the process that we went through a couple of videos ago with actually generating a key, right? And you'll notice that anybody can go and put any email address in and generate a key. And as you'll see from this process, there's no kind of verification making sure that, I control the email address or the name that I'm putting up there. And so this sort of underscores the fact that while key servers are a great way to do the work of actually getting a public key, which is basically a big gobbledygooky looking string of text. The whole business of making sure that the key belongs to the person you think it does requires an extra step, and we'll touch on that at the end. But anyhow, as we get going here, we're at the MIT PGP public key server. A couple of things I want to note about this. So again, if you followed the video that I did on actually setting up your PGP key with GPG tools, in that process I actually did not automatically upload my key, and one of the reasons for that, I think it's helpful to just come over to the FAQs on the MIT media server here, the MIT PGP server, because you cannot delete a key from the server later. And so if this is something that you want to use, it's okay to have multiple keys out there. The thing is basically whether or not is how you point people to those keys, right? So the trick is, if you have 50 different keys on key servers around the world that all have your email address on them, it's going to be very difficult for people to know which one to use. And that's why you want to be a little bit thoughtful about this process. So it's just to say, the only way that they're not going to delete the key for you. So be aware of that. You may not want to use something like this. You can always put your key on your own web server. And the thing that you'll see is that keys are just text. That's all. The key that you need to share is just text. So it's not like a complex thing to do. It's not some crazy software or anything like that. Just characters and numbers. Okay, so let's start by going ahead and looking for somebody. So I am going to look up some user here, and lo and behold, there are quite a lot of test users who have been created at some point in the past on this server, which is handy for us. So what you're looking at here is some of the information that is sort of stored along with the key information on the server. You don't really need to worry about any of it. What you are interested in is the public key. And so you're going to click on that, and we're going to go through the very complicated process. You are literally going to highlight this in your browser, copy it. I just did it in an Apple C on my keyboard. I'm going to open up GPG chain access. I am going to just actually click inside. So there's no button for this, okay, which is a little unusual. But basically I'm active in the window, and I'm just going to hit Apple V paste. That's it. I have now imported that key. That key is available for me to use. If I wanted to encrypt an email to some test user at the email address test@example.org, that's what I would do. Oops. Sorry. So that's actually it. That's how you import someone's key. So the other thing for us to do, of course, is to export our own key. And so I can select my key here, and I'm going to click export, okay? And now, very, very important here. This is essential. So I could give this another right? So I could give this another thing. Never ever click this button. The thing about public and private keys is exactly what it sort of speaks to their usage, right? Your public key is fine to share publicly. We're going to post it on a key server right now, out on the open web. That's fine. Your private key should always be kept private. There are pretty much no circumstances under which you would want to share your private key. And there are some services that will ask you for your private key. I think they do this because they want you to be able to recover your account. Again, this is one of the businesses with encrypted email, right? You're much better off, writing down your passphrase and sticking it in your desk drawer than you are ever sharing that key with someone or an organization. So you never ever want to transmit that private key. You certainly never want to transmit it over the internet ever, and really you don't want to share it with anyone. So anyhow, that said, save. Okay, and you'll see popping up on your desktop somewhere, you will see this guy has come up. And to submit this to the key server, I'm literally just going to come back here. And so this says ASCII armored PGP key here. So what I can do now, if you have GPG tools installed and you double click on this, it's going to import it, which of course is not useful for us because it's our own key. You can actually open this in TextEdit. And again, because it is actually just a text file. And somewhere down here we'll find TextEdit. Okay. Okay, and you can see it has a similar looking text block to what we saw in the other case. And so I'm going to go back to the MIT PGP server, paste that in there, and say, submit this key to the key server. Okay, and so apparently this says that it's almost instantaneous. So I am going to go back to the main page, and I'm going to check for my username. And there I am. Now, this is sufficient for me to get the actual public key. But I want to say a few words now about key exchange, right? So again, you've seen during the course of this process that actually anybody can, generate a public key, generate a key pair using GPT tools. They can put any email they want in there. There's no validation or verification, making sure that that person has control of the email address. It's just there, right? And in point of fact, actually, you don't have to put an email address in there if you don't want to. So you can also just sort of, let's say that you want to have a public key, but you don't necessarily want to publish your email address out on the web. You can still generate a public key and just not associate it with that email address. But anyhow, so again, I want to point out that we realize that anybody can do it. So the fact that you happen to find somebody's name on the internet with a public key associated with it does not mean that it's necessarily that person, right? This goes to what we call authentication. And authentication, so when you're dealing with encryption, it's really important that you do both steps because, again, you don't want to just start firing random emails off to people who turn out not to be the people you think they are. And the way that we handle this, the way that this is commonly handled and best handled, really, is that you really need to find a way to confirm that that key belongs to the person that you think it does. And one of the ways that one of the things that helps with this are PGP fingerprints. So basically, a fingerprint is a much shorter bit of text. Technically, it's called a hash. That is sort of like a unique reduction of the big public key itself. Okay, so this is automatically generated when you generate the keys, and so when I do this search again, now you can see I'm going to click Show PGP Fingerprints for Keys. So now I do the search, and you'll see it comes up with this string. Okay, so this is the string that I can use to confirm with someone through another means. So let's say you're on a telephone call with somebody and you want to send them an encrypted email, and they say, sure, I'm under this username on the MIT server, and you say, great, what's your fingerprint? And they're going to read off these, they're going to read off a set of characters, and when you come to the server and check, you're going to compare what they told you to this set of characters, letters and numbers. The same thing can be done, you can do it via postal mail, right? You can write it on a card, drop it in the mail. You can do it in person. Some people put the fingerprints, their PGP fingerprints, on their business cards, which is a great way to do it. You can even do it via QR codes. That happens to be a personal project of mine. But anyhow, the point is simply that, as I think this process illustrates, just because you find the key doesn't mean it really belongs to that person. You always have to make sure that the key that you're looking at actually belongs to the person you think it does. does. And really, that's all there is to it. So I'm just going to hop back into Thunderbird now just to demonstrate, the process if I wanted to, now send an encrypted email to this person. So again, if I look now here, you can see that, I just have the public key for some test user. And I can go ahead and compose an email. And I'm going to say, I think it's test@example.com. Hello there, right? And again, all I would have to do is say, encrypt the message. Actually, the easiest way is to do this way, signing it, I don't know, clicking the sign, this thing doesn't seem to be working very well. So anyhow, just make sure you got both of them on there if you actually want to both sign in and encrypt it. So this is fine. Let's say I had a typo, or let's say I don't have someone's, let's say I don't actually have a particular person's public key, but I try to send them an email. It's going to look it up via the email. So if I hit send here, it's going to say, look, I don't have a key for this. What do you want me to use? And then you can say, oh, right, it's this, right? So for example, if you knew that there was this different email address, that somebody used, or just the email address that someone uses, and you want to send an encrypted email to that different email address, but you know which key they use, a secondary account, for example, that person uses, you could say, oh, okay, well, this is a different, I want to send it to this email address, but it's actually this person's key. And so then you would just sort of click that and hit OK and go through there. Now I'm actually going to do this because I don't know what will happen. Some person at example.com is going to get a lot of random emails. That's what will happen. But again, just to sort of illustrate the process there, really very simple. So hopefully at this point you've gotten kind of a good thing. I think we've been less than an hour doing this, I'll be doing more videos like this with some other sort of privacy security related tools. But in the meantime, again, if you have questions, worries, queries, concerns, or problems, please feel free to leave a comment, or if something that you saw here doesn't work the same way for you, please do let me know. All right, that's it for now.